Hello everyone. So today the topic for practical is renal function test. The learning objectives are at the end of the session, the students should be able to describe and interpret the abnormalities in a panel containing renal function test. So, which are the normal renal functions? So, since kidney is a highly specialized organ, it performs a certain important functions like maintenance of extracellular fluid volume and composition, that is in the form of regulation of water and electrolyte balance, acid base balance, and fluid osmotic pressure. It also act as an important organ for the excretion of metabolic waste products like blood urea, creatine, uric acid, and certain drugs, but simultaneously retention of essential substances like glucose and amino acids. It also regulates the blood pressure by renin-angiotensin mechanism and involves in the synthesis of erythropoietin, a hormone which stimulates the erythropoiesis, and also responsible for the production of vitamin D3, which is an active form of vitamin D. And vitamin D3 is produced from the vitamin D2, and it stimulates the absorption of calcium from GI tract. So before going into the detailed renal function test analysis, we need to know about basic structure of the kidney, that is a nephron. And each kidney contains approximately 1 million nephrons, and in humans the formation of nephron is completed at 36 to 40 weeks of gestation, but functional maturation with tubular growth and elongation continues during the first decade of life. And because the new nephrons cannot be formed after the birth, so any disease that results in progressive loss of nephrons can lead to the renal insufficiency. So a nephron is consisting of outer layer and inner layer. Outer layer lies in the cortex, and inner layer lies in the medullary portion of the kidney. So outer layer is containing the glomeruli, proximal convoluted tubules, and distal convoluted tubules, along with the certain part of collecting duct. An inner layer, which is lying in the medullary part, it contains straight portion of the tubules, loop of Henle, vasa recta, and terminal collecting ducts. The structures and function of nephron in a diagrammatic form. So mainly three physiological functions are taking place in the kidney, as you already know. So first is the filtration part, which is occurring in the glomerular layer, and the second part, proximal convoluted tubule, where the reabsorption occurs, and the secretion part that occurs at the distal convoluted tubules. So pressure forces water and dissolved substances from glomerular blood into the Bowman's capsule, and which amounts to 125 ml per minute, that is accounting for the glomerular filtration rate. Reabsorption takes place at the proximal convoluted tubules. The return of the substances from the filtrate to the blood and interstitial fluid, that is known as reabsorption, and water by osmosis, and sodium chloride, glucose, and amino acids reabsorption occurs via active transportation. The secretion takes place at the distal convoluted tubules, and the active release of substances by the tubular lining cells into the nephron tubules to get rid of toxins and residual, and also for balancing of the electrolytes. So mostly secreting the potassium, chloride, and acid base balance by releasing hydrogen and ammonia. Now, which are the indications of renal function test? The renal function tests are carried out to assess functional capacity of kidneys, to diagnose renal impairment, to assess the severity and progression of renal impairment, and to assess the effectiveness of treatment. There are certain limitations of renal function test, like the nature of the disease cannot be known, whether damage is due to renal or extrarenal causes cannot be known, Exact anatomical site of damage cannot be known, and mild or early damage cannot be detected by renal function test. The renal function tests are divided into mainly two groups. One is the test to evaluate glomerular function, and the second one is test to evaluate tubular function. So here is the classification of renal function test. Test to evaluate glomerular function will include clearance test mainly to measure the glomerular filtration rate via inulin clearance, iothalamate clearance, ADT clearance, and newer addition, that is cystatin C clearance, and the classical are the creatine clearance and urea clearance. Another method is calculation of creatine clearance from the prediction equations. Third one is the blood biochemistry, which is commonly done as a part of renal function test, like serum creatinine assessment, blood urea nitrogen, and blood urea nitrogen versus serum creatinine ratio. And fourth one is a microalbuminuria and albuminuria. Now the tests to evaluate tubular function are further divided into tests to assess the proximal tubular function and distal tubular function, second one. So glycosuria, phosphaturia, uricosuriA, generalized amino acid urea, tubular proteinuria, and fractional sodium excretion will help in assessment of the proximal tubular function. And the specific gravity and osmolality of urine, water deprivation test and water loading test, ammonium chloride loading test, these tests will help in assessment of distal tubular function. Another classification of renal function tests are urine analysis, physical, chemical, and microscopic analysis, which we have already discussed previously. And concentration and dilution test, like urine specific gravity and urine output, blood chemistry, that is measurement of end products of protein metabolism like urea, and creatinine, renal clearance test like inulin, mannitol, creatinine, and para-amino hippuric acid test, and renal biopsy. Commonly included parameters of renal function test are serum urea, serum creatinine, serum uric acid, total protein, and serum albumin, and serum electrolytes like sodium, potassium chloride, phosphate, and calcium. In practice, commonly performed renal function tests are routine urine analysis, estimation of serum creatinine, blood urea nitrogen versus serum creatinine ratio, creatinine clearance test, or estimation of glomerular filtration rate from serum creatinine value by a prediction equation, estimation of urine concentrating ability via water deprivation test. So urine examination, as we have already discussed, it is the first test performed in patients suspected of having a renal disease. It is the simplest, least expensive test, and parameters that can assess renal function are urine volume in 24 hours, specific gravity of urine, osmolality of urine, proteinuria, and degree of proteinuria, and microscopic examination of urinary sediment. Blood chemistry. So in blood chemistry, blood urea, creatinine, and blood urea nitrogen are measured. So urea is the end product of protein and amino acid metabolism. It is produced in liver through urea cycle, and then it is freely distributed to all extracellular and intracellular fluids. Lastly, it is excreted mainly by the kidney and also by sweat and intestines. Urea forms 50% of all solids in urine and 80 to 90% of all nitrogenous compounds in urine. Normal range of blood urea is 8 to 20 milligram, and sample usually 2 ml is collected in a oxalate bulb, and urea is converted by enzyme urease into ammonia. Ammonia will be converted into colored complex by Nessler reagent, and which is a principle of this method. Blood urea nitrogen, sometimes blood urea is expressed as its pure nitrogenous component, that is as blood urea nitrogen, and urea is equal to blood urea nitrogen multiplied by 2.14. So factors affecting blood urea levels are: one is the dietary protein intake, rate of protein catabolism, and state of hydration. And due to these affecting factors, blood urea levels many times fluctuates. Normal blood urea nitrogen range from 20 to 40 milligram percentage. Serum creatinine. In contrast to the urea, the levels of creatinine do not depend on the previously discussed factors. The serum creatinine is a better guide for renal function in comparison to the blood urea, and normal value of serum creatinine is 0.6 to 1.2 milligram percent. Now, what is azotemia and uremia? The both terms related with the increased levels of urea and creatinine in blood. Azotemia is a biochemical abnormality which denotes higher level of urea and creatinine, while uremia is a systemic manifestations due to increased level of urea and creatinine. So it is a syndrome having involvement of many organs and systems like kidneys, cardiovascular system, central nervous system, bones, GIT, etc. And their causes can be summarized as follows. Like, causes of azotemia are divided into pre-renal, renal and post-renal causes. Pre-renal causes will include congestive cardiac failure, severe infection, gastrointestinal tract hemorrhages and Addison's disease. Also, it includes the high-grade fever. Renal causes will include end stage of glomerulonephritis, pyelonephritis, nephrosclerosis, renal artery disease, etc. And post-renal causes will include obstructions in urinary tract, for example, stricture urethra, bladder stone, tumor, prostatic enlargement, and ureteric stone. Serum creatinine is a more specific and a more sensitive indicator of renal function as compared to blood urea nitrogen, because it is produced from muscles at a constant rate and its level in blood is not affected by the diet, protein catabolism or other exogenous factors. Also, it is not reabsorbed and very little is secreted by the tubules. Limitations of the serum creatinine estimation is the with muscle mass remaining constant, increased creatinine level reflects reduction of glomerular filtration rate. However, because of significant kidney reserve, increase of serum creatinine level, that is from 1 milligram per deciliter to 2 milligram per deciliter in blood, does not occur until about 50% of kidney function is lost. Therefore, the serum creatinine is not a sensitive indicator of early renal impairment. So, thus the early renal impairment cannot be detected with a high sensitivity with the help of serum creatinine. Also, laboratory reports showing serum creatinine within normal range does not necessarily mean that the level is normal. The level should be correlated with body weight, age and sex of the individual. If renal function is absent, serum creatinine rises by 1 to 1.5 milligram per deciliter per day. Blood urea nitrogen and versus serum creatinine ratio. The clinicians commonly calculate blood urea nitrogen versus creatinine ratio to discriminate pre-renal and post-renal azotemia from renal azotemia. Normal ratio is 12:1 to 20:1. Now, which are the causes of increased blood urea nitrogen creatinine ratio? Usually more than 20:1. Increased blood urea nitrogen with normal serum creatinine. The causes are pre-renal azotemia, that is reduced renal perfusion, high protein diet, increased protein catabolism and gastrointestinal hemorrhages. Increase of both blood urea nitrogen and serum creatinine with disproportionately greater increase of blood urea nitrogen. The conditions which affect the renal impairment, these are the post-renal azotemia, obstruction to the outflow of urine. Obstruction to the urine outflow causes diffusion of urinary urea back into the blood from tubules because of the back pressure. Causes of decreased blood urea nitrogen creatinine ratio less than 10:1. These are mainly acute tubular necrosis, low protein diet, starvation and severe liver disease. The biochemical changes in plasma in renal failure reflected as a increased level of potassium, urea, creatinine, hydrogen ions, phosphate and magnesium level, and decreased levels of electrolytes like sodium, bicarbonate and calcium. Clearance test. The clearance of substance is defined as the volume of plasma that is cleared of that substance in unit time. Inulin clearance accurately measures glomerular filtration rate as it is neither secreted or absorbed by the renal tubules. However, it is not routinely done in patients, and in clinical settings, estimated GFR is more commonly used, which is calculated from the serum creatinine value. The marker used for clearance test are divided into exogenous marker and endogenous marker. Exogenous marker include the inulin 51 CR label EDTA, 91 TAC label EDTA, or idothalamide, iohexol, and iodoacetate. Endogenous markers are urea, creatinine, beta 2 microglobulin, retinol binding protein, alpha 1 microglobulin, and cystatin C. Commonly used markers are inulin and creatinine. So, what is meant by clearance test? A urea clearance test will as a expression of the number of ml of blood or plasma which are completely cleared of urea by the kidney per minute. So maximum clearance is when urine output is 2 ml per minute, and equation is U multiplied by V, where divided by plasma, that is U reflects the concentration of urea in urine in milligram per deciliter. V represents the volume of urine in ml per minute, and P, that is some typing mistake, so P represents the concentration of urea in plasma in unit of milligram per deciliter. So urea clearance of 75, just in an example that so urea clearance of 75 doesn't mean that the 75 ml of blood has passed through kidney in 1 minute and was completely cleared of urea, but it means that the amount of urea excreted in urine in 1 minute is equal to the amount found in 75 ml of blood or plasma. So interpretation of urea clearance test results are as if urea clearance more than 70%, the renal function is assumed to be a normal. Whenever the urea clearance is 40 to 70%, the renal function is mildly impaired, and in case of severely impaired renal function, the urea clearance will be less than 20%. Endogenous creatinine clearance test. The procedure for creatinine clearance test is collection of 24-hour urine specimen is done, and blood specimen is collected for serum creatinine estimation at the midpoint of 24 hours urine collection. So both urine specimen and blood specimen are taken, and the concentration of creatinine in both serum and urine is measured, and the total urine volume is measured also carefully. So creatinine clearance is calculated by the same equation, that is U multiplied by V and divided by plasma. So concentration of creatinine in urine with volume of urine, and P represents the concentration of creatinine in plasma. Correction is done by multiplying the derived value with the body surface area. The standard body surface area is taken as a 1.73 meter square. Estimated GFR. The Cockcroft-Gault formula for estimating the creatinine clearance is routinely used as a simple means to provide a reliable approximation of residual renal function in all patients with chronic kidney disease, and the formulas are creatinine clearance in case of male is equal to 140 minus age into weight in kilogram divided by serum creatinine multiplied by 72. However, this has been extensively modified, and there are also online calculators of estimated GFR from serum creatinine and body weight of patients, and estimated GFR is used to determine the stage of chronic kidney disease. The calculation doesn't require time urine collection. Advantages is that, and it should be used more often than the traditional creatinine clearance. Now, which are the advantages of creatinine clearance test? Are the advantages are like Creatinine is the endogenous metabolic product which is synthesized at a constant rate for a given individual. It is unaffected by non-renal factors, as we have discussed earlier, like factors like protein diet or GI hemorrhages, and it is cleared essentially by glomerular filtration, not reabsorbed, and only slightly secreted, only less than 5% by proximal convoluted tubules, and the clearance value is approximately or very closer to the glomerular filtration rate. The staging of the kidney disease based on the GFR values. So stage 1, normal kidney function but urinalysis, structural abnormalities or genetic abnormalities may indicate renal disease. The GFR more than 90 ml per minute per 1.73 meter square body surface area. Stage 2 kidney disease, where the GFR will be between 60 to 89 and mildly reduced renal function will be there. In stage 3, there will be GFR 32 between 6 to 59 and moderately reduced renal function is there. In stage 4, in case of severely reduced renal function, the GFR will be 15 to 29, and in stage 5 end stage renal failure, GFR will be drastically reduced, that is less than 15 ml per minute per 1.73 meter square. Inulin clearance test. These are neither reabsorbed nor secreted by the renal tubules. It is the exogenous substance. Inulin clearance value is equal to the GFR, administered intravenously to measure the GFR, and usually not in practice. Loading test. These are the crude tests for detecting renal damage. Here some substance in a measured amount is given to a person, and after some fixed time its excretion in urine is calculated, and from this function of the kidney is determined. Loading with normal substances like dilution test or concentration test, and the second are the loading with foreign substances like indigo-carmine and phenol sulfonaphthalene. Renal biopsy. Expert evaluation of renal histology is important in the diagnosis of various renal parenchymal diseases involving glomeruli, tubular interstitium, and small blood vessels. The procedure has become much simpler with the use of automatic instrument like biopsy gun or TrueCut biopsy gun devices and ultrasonographic visualization of the kidney. Indications include it has a very good value or significant value in diagnosis of steroid resistant nephrotic syndrome, acute renal failure of unknown cause, and rapidly progressive renal failure. Systemic disease like Henoch-Koellner purpura, lupus hemolytic uremic syndrome, IgA nephropathy, inherited nephropathies like Alport syndrome, renal allograft dysfunction, detection of calcineurin toxicity. But the biopsy has lesser value in case of chronic renal failure to ascertain the etiology, non-nephrotic range proteinuria, microscopic hematuria, steroid-sensitive nephrotic syndrome. And a renal biopsy is not required in uncomplicated cases of post-infectious glomerulonephritis and corticosteroid responsive nephrotic syndrome. The biopsy procedure. A renal biopsy is usually made percutaneously. A history of bleeding and clotting disorders should be obtained. Prothrombin time, bleeding time, coagulation time, and platelet count is measured. Blood pressure should be in a normal range. And in patients with acute renal failure, dialysis should be done to reduce azotemia and correct biochemical abnormalities before the biopsy. The renal size and location are confirmed with an ultrasonography before biopsy. The patient should be kept fasting for about 3 to 4 hours and local anesthesia can be used. Now, principle of the TrueCut biopsy, the free needle technique. The principle includes the needle includes the slot for the slot as well as the seat. The needle with slot for specimen, and first the only the needle is pushed into the lesion, and after that the seat is slided over the needle to cut the specimen so that the thin core of the specimen from the lesion will get entrapped, and gradually the needle with seat and core of the specimen, the trapped core of the specimen is withdrawn. The biopsy procedure. The patient lies in the prone position with a folded towel or bed sheet placed under his lower ribs and epigastrium to push the kidneys posteriorly and stabilize their position. The entry of biopsy needle into the kidney when it pierces the renal capsule is indicated by slight resistance, and once in the kidney it moves with the respiratory excretions. The two core of the tissue, about 8 to 10 millimeter long, are needed for adequate histological examination. One core is fixed in buffer formalin and another one in saline for immunofluorescence study is preserved. Interpretation of renal biopsy. The histology should be examined by light microscopy using routine HN stain, PAS stain, and silver methenamine staining in all cases, and special stains as necessary. And electron microscopy is very useful in several disorders like Alport syndrome, membranoproliferative glomerulonephritis, and thin basement membrane disease. Test for the tubular function. The tests to measure tubular functions are urine concentration test. It determines the concentration ability of renal tubules. No food or water after meal at 6 p.m. and next day at 7 a.m. collect the urine and discard it. At 8 a.m. collect the urine specimen and measure the osmolality of urine. Now how to interpret. Whenever the urine osmolality will more than 850 milliosmol per kg water, the renal concentration ability is considered as normal, and the lower osmolality of urine indicates the chronic renal failure, acute tubular necrosis, and nephrogenic diabetes insipidus. Measurement of urine and plasma osmolality ratio. The ratio between urine osmolality and plasma osmolality is 1:1 to 3:1 in normal condition, and low ratio indicates the renal tubular dysfunction. In diabetes insipidus, the ratio becomes 0.2:1 to 0.7:1. Para-aminohippuric acid clearance test, PAH. PAH is unique in that it is completely excreted in one passage through kidney, as it is both filtered and secreted, and therefore clearance of PAH is a measure of renal plasma flow. Acidification test. In this test, the ability to acidify urine is tested after administering 0.1 gram per kilogram ammonium chloride gelatin coated samples. And this completes the renal function test. Thank you.